Like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast, and we're doing a case study today, and we're not going to name names, and so Jill and I, we've known each other for a long time, and we're good friends. And there's a man that both of us know, and and in the pre-podcast, Jill said, "Yeah, this guy's full of himself." What did you say about him, Jill?
He's not, he doesn't have a lot of humility. He's very confident in himself and he's done some really good things. But I don't see humility as one of his strong traits.
Do you know why that is? Why he doesn't have humility?
I think it's a defense mechanism.
Right, against insecurity.
Yeah, I think I think when people are um they act overly confident, or they come across um
So on the series Building Powerful Men, this is a case study in that. So do you realize that you soften things up when it's recorded?
no.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think women do that. Like women,
Okay.
I think women just naturally go ahead, because I don't remember the exact words, but I don't know if it was like, yeah, he's full of himself. I mean, I don't get me wrong.
I don't remember, well, I don't remember the exact words either, so
Right, but that's not the point. The point is, you said, don't get me wrong, I like him, but you nailed him just straight between the eyes. Like he's always been full of himself. He always comes across as being cocky, and he thinks he knows what he's doing, and this and this and this. And it's like, and so it's what's fascinating. Like you met Kenny, and Alicia, she's a realtor in the area, and Kenny called her like 4 years, 3 years ago, called her about a home, and she said to her husband, she said, "Yeah, I don't want to work with Kenny. Yeah, like he's just full of himself." And then she went ahead and talked to me, and she said, "Okay, yeah, I'm going to work with them now." And
okay. Why?
why do you think?
I'm not really sure.
She said the exact same thing. What was fascinating to me is she said it in front of this other person that we're talking about and Kenny, and she said, "Yeah, I didn't like either one of you. You're just full of yourselves." Just straight up, just rip the band-aid off and just straight up. And so, but she likes working with me. I mean, maybe not now, because I told her something. She's like most women. I told her something she didn't like to hear. And boy, but what's interesting about that is it put her into tears. She was heartbroken,
Because sometimes the truth hurts.
right? And the more it hurts, the more truth that there was. And so, but so the reason is because these guys, both of these guys are raised Amish.
Is there something um in the Amish, are boys treated or raised to think differently as far as manhood? I mean, do they? I don't really
Yeah,
know.
no, I
I don't really
absolutely.
know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is what the so they're it's what's interesting is really it's a matriarchal run society. Like the Jews and like the black community, it's run by women. Like the women go ahead and really control it. But the men disrespect the women like crazy. They do what they want to do. Like they're trained that if you go ahead and bring home the bacon. If you go ahead and work, your wife's responsible for all the kids, all this, all this, all this, and the men get to go ahead and work 6 hours a day, and then they go ahead and get to come home and they can do whatever they like to do. Now, a lot of times they do work, but it's what they want to do. The rest of the day is theirs. The weekends are theirs. Everything's there. They go hunting. They do all of these type of things. So it's like they're trained to go ahead and be better. They're better than women. The women are silent. The women won't. I mean, this one particular guy that we're talking about, he went ahead and he went ahead and they're just clunky. They're stupid. They think they're smart. They think they're charming. And what they are is they are on the surface, on the exterior. They learn how to game the system more like women do. Like women tend to game systems. Men, they learn how to do that. So this dude, like like Edward Kurtz, you and I know him, and 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 they're the one that introduced him. And this guy went ahead and said, I don't know, after a few years of marriage, he says to his wife, his English wife, there's two types of people. There's Amish and English. English is everything other than Amish. So they think they're special. They think they're smart. They think they're special. They think they're better than everybody else.
Why is that? Why
Well,
why do they have that attitude? What
well, I
about
think
them? Is that
it's
what is ingrained into them, and that's what's they're taught?
yeah, not consciously. So they don't want to stand out, but yet when they go out as a group, they all stand out. They all move together in packs. They're taught to follow the bishops, follow the ministers. You follow this, but who's controlling the bishops and the ministers? Often
Their wives.
their wives. And so
I
they
you
so
know
this so,
I
so this
just
guy went ahead and said to his wife, he says, why can't you be like an Amish wife? Like he hurts her. He goes for the emotional, and it's sad. It's absolutely sad. And doesn't have thankfulness or gratefulness or appreciation. He thinks all of his success is because of him. He thinks he's really smart.
I just got done listening to something the other day that they were talking about um the man is the head of the house, but the woman is the neck.
Right,
And the head is going to be there,
right.
but who controls the head?
Right. And the
The
thing
neck.
is, but the thing is when women control, and I know what you're saying, there's good control and bad control.
Right.
Like good control is, you need to fulfill your responsibilities as a husband. But these kind of husbands, what they do is they manipulate their wives into crazy stuff. And then they're not present with their wife and they're not present with their kids. They're like my dad. Like I went ahead and I was in two small groups, and both men's small group, both were separate, no interconnection, and both of them said to me about the same time. They said this was 5 years before my dad died, and so he's 70, so I'd have been 50 or so, and both of them said we don't think you have the relationship with your dad that you could or should. So I'm like, okay, it was weird. Both of them came out. So I go to my dad's house. He just lived right across town. And I go to my dad's house, and my dad's sitting in the living room. My mom, I walk in, I say, hey, Dad, there's a couple of small group men men in a small group, totally different. They said, I don't think that you have the relationship with your dad you could or should. And so I was just curious, Dad, what you thought about that. And he laughed and he said, well, I don't really have really a deep relationship with any of you four boys. And I said, okay, Dad. All right. I said, do you have like a deep relationship with anybody, Dad? And my mom's like sitting within hitting distance. and and he's like, nope, probably not. 50 years of marriage, and he doesn't have a deep relationship with my mom. And I said, so are you okay with that, Dad? And he's like, well, must be right. And he laughed. My mom didn't even, my mom had no response to him when he said he had no deep relationships with anybody, not her or anybody, just nobody. It's like the poor, like we said before, I said, so how do you fix this with that person? And what did you say?
I don't remember.
You said, I don't think you can, Mark.
No,
And so, can they be fixed?
I don't know. Nobody can fix something. You can't fix something in another person until, first of all, they have to acknowledge it, and then they have to want to make a change. If you can't force them to make a change, you can't shame them into making a change. They have to they have to acknowledge that there's an issue. They have to own it, and then they have to make the changes themselves. And most of the time, I don't know of too many men that will acknowledge that they've got an issue, first of all. For some reason, they seem to think that whatever they do is, especially a man that's got a big ego, that whatever they do is okay, that this is the way men are supposed to be. And maybe this is the way that they've been taught that it's okay, and they don't know any better. And sometimes I think they're just plain ignorant.
Well, it took me 61 years to go ahead and understand a tight definition of the difference between ignorant and stupid. And ignorant is not knowing what to do, and stupid is not doing what we know.
That's a good definition.
And so the thing is like my oldest daughter, Ginger Ann, her mother-in-law said you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But you can put salt in the oats. That was 14, 15 years ago. So do you know what? Do you know what the vulnerable part of a man who has high ego is? The one thing that moves that man more than anything else, do you know what it is?
No.
It's exposure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's exposure.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's this
Because
other guy that's a husband and father of a number of kids, and we were sitting by a campfire, guys' night, and we were sitting by a campfire. And the guy went ahead and said, he said, I'm an imposter. And I'm like, dang, that is so cool that I never even thought he would be that self-aware, like, and he's vulnerable. And I'm like, holy cow. I was stunned. I'm like, I had a whole different impression. Before I just think he's an idiot, he's narcissistic, self-centered, self-absorbed. He's just, man, this guy is a mess. I would hate to be his wife or children. But then I had this found respect for him. And I was just stunned by this total change. Then I saw him the next day. It was Sunday. I saw him and I'm talking. I said, hey, I was just really impressed with what you said and your self awareness. And he said, well, being an imposter is a good thing. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, yeah, it's a good thing. I said, how is being an imposter a good thing? He says, well, if you believe that you're something, eventually you'll become that something. I'm like, I don't think that's how it works most of the time. And he really believed it. And he believes he's a great dad and he believes he's a great husband, but he knows he's not. He knows he sucks. He knows he's terrible. And his wife knows it. His father in law definitely knows it. And the thing is, he can't control his father in law, but he tries to through his wife, where he says to his wife, your dad said this, your dad's doing this. And she's like, what can I do? It's my dad. Like, I don't know. Well, he's my dad. Like, my dad. I can't control him. This other gentleman that we're talking about, it's like, so what he does is he learns how to game the system. He learns how to come across as being nice and learns how to come across as being humble. He's not thankful. He's not grateful. He's not appreciative. And all of his failures, he goes ahead and he somehow minimizes those and rationalizes those. And then his successes are all because of him. It's like they do what I call a mind shift. They, 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 they switch their mind and everything. It's all about everything they do in their mind is for the benefit of other people. And I have a lot of people in my life that are like that. And men and women are both like this. When a man's like this, it's absolutely disastrous. When a woman's like this,
Do you think that he believes that what you just said? Do you think he believes that about himself, that he's doing it for other people?
on a conscious basis, yes. On a conscious basis, he thinks everything he's doing is for the benefit of other people. I mean, it's insane. I mean, there's another guy I know,
So
and
he thinks that he's basically sacrificing himself for
for
others.
everything he does, I have two men that have done the same thing with me. It's fascinating. The one is the one guy I was talking about, and he's like, hey, can you watch? I'm like, he gives me his son or his daughter, and he's doing me a favor by giving me his kids to watch. So what they do, Jill, is it's just fascinating to see it when you. It's infuriating if you're married to them. It's just infuriating because you're like, is it me? Like, there's a book out there, Walking on Eggshells, and it's an interesting book. And so here's on the mental health stuff. Here's on the mental health stuff. So these are based on the different personalities, and often these men are going to be amiable, analytic, but they could be amiable, expressive, but they're often going to be, and so they have more feminine personality,
Okay.
stereotypes, characteristics, and so they learn how to seduce people. They learn how to seduce people and have everybody besides their spouse and father-in-law think that they're really good men, that they're just amazing men. And it doesn't matter how, like you saying, and women don't help the situation. They just don't because they're soft on them. You just have to take them with a 4x4 and just say, as long as I've known you, so and so, you're arrogant. You're full of yourself. You know what? And eventually it's going to catch up to them. It's going to catch up to them in business. They're not thankful. They're not grateful. I mean, I'm working with a number of 20 and 30-year-olds, and I understand why men who are 50 and 60 don't work with them. It's crazy. Like, you will go ahead and set them up for success. You will do things that they could never do. And when they see the success, they twist everything. They twist everything and they think they're the ones that are successful. They're the ones that created all the success. In their own mind, what they do is they act humble, but then what at the heart level, they are they're arrogant, self-centered, self-absorbed, narcissistic. It's unbelievable.
So how do you get through to somebody like that?
Well, that's what I've been working on for a number of decades. And so, oh, my dad, go back to my dad. My dad, it was fascinating to me. And I love my dad. I think he's a good dad and everything, not a perfect dad. Don't even have to say that, but I think he's good, but he has no connection. And what he did is he prevented my mom from having a connection. So my dad was a Baptist pastor, and my mom was a Baptist pastor's wife. And so my dad controlled my mom. I said to my mom, right around the same time, I said, Dad just drives me crazy. She's like, why is that? I said, he's so stubborn. She's like, he's not stubborn. 50 years of marriage. She's like, he's not stubborn. And I said, really, Mom? Like, are you kidding? She's like, yeah, no, he's not stubborn. I'm like, hey, if that's working for you, Mom, go on. So, and I felt bad after I got off the phone because I'm like, hope I didn't mess up their marriage. And a few weeks later, she came back to me and she said, um, I'm so glad. She says, you're right. He is really stubborn. In the last 5 years of his life, he mentally abused her, mentally, emotionally abused her. And she told me, and she called me crying, and she says, Mark, I said, is it physical? And there's no physical. I said, well, you got to tell other people. And so on the spiritual abuse, Dale Williams,
Okay.
she wouldn't tell Dale. My three brothers, she wouldn't tell them. I'm on a Sunday call with my three brothers. I said, hey guys, we got to do something to help Mom. They're like, why? And I'm like, because Dad's mistreating her. They're like, that's not the story we hear. I'm like, well, guys, like, you're not hearing the right story. And my brother Dan, he said, Mark, have you ever thought that Mom's telling you a different story? And I never see, that's where I'm stupid. I never thought it had never crossed my mind. Why would she tell me a different story? Like, it makes no sense. So I called
Well,
her right away. Mom, I'm on with the three brothers. I'm on with the three brothers. And I told them about Dad mistreating you. And Dan said that, Mark, maybe Mom's telling you a different story. So, Mom, are you telling me a different story?
what'd she say?
She said, yeah. I said, why? I'm like, why would you do that, Mom? And she says, because you're the only one who cares. I go back to my three brothers. I go back to my three brothers. And I go back to my three brothers and I go ahead and I tell them the story. What do?
I think they just dismissed it.
That's what they did. They just, they just ignored it because they didn't want to deal with the conflict. They wanted to believe their dad. The truth is, all three of them are like my dad.
I was going to say that probably was the whole situation.
Yeah, all three of them are like my dad. And so what's the answer to this, Jill, on how do you go ahead and help a man who's full of ego? And so, welcome, Nora. You'll be able to contribute to this. And so, we're talking about a guy who shall not be named, and that Jill has known, and I've known. And Jill and I were talking after the podcast for that Building Solid Men, and she says, "Oh yeah, that guy. It's fascinating. She's like, yeah, that guy, like he's got ego, high ego, and he's full of himself and all of this." And she said, "Don't get me wrong, I like him."
I do. But
Right,
that's just an observation from day one. He's
right,
always he's always been, he's always been cocky, and that's, I mean, like I said, I talking to him, I like him a lot. I think he can be a lot of fun and what have you, but I think he's full of himself.
right. So you'd think that a guy would go ahead and say, "Well, that's not good," but he'll just dismiss it. It's like water off of the duck's back. It's just he'll just dismiss it. So they dismiss anything and everything that isn't the story that they've been told. And so, do you hear my voice now? We did, Nora and I did a song, and my oldest daughter. So the three of us did a song, and it's like, you're a goofball. And in that, it's really the lyrics. You wanted a wife, but not a man's role. You wanted kids, but not a father's soul. You wanted love, but wouldn't grow. You wanted to be something, but you chose to be nothing. And I accept that. And these, and this guy we're talking about, that's what he is too, very, very heavily. And so Does it go back into some type of hurt that he had as a child he's never healed from? I don't know. But people will tell him, and people, he trains everybody. It's funny. He and the other guy I was talking about, so we were both over, they were both over at our house. And it's so funny. I said, guys, you two have trained me really well. And the one that we're talking about that's full of himself, he's like, he's oh, he's like, have you done that to us too? And I just laughed and I said, obviously not as well. Like, I haven't trained you as well. Obviously not. But I'll write songs about you. I'll go ahead and podcast about you. So their greatest fear is exposure. And what they do is they're marvelous. It's absolutely amazing. They get married. Then what they do is they get a woman who's going to protect them. Now you have a man that's clueless and a woman who's going to protect that man.
Why do you think that is?
Because a man's identity largely comes from his occupation. So in the Amish in northern Indiana, they can work for the factory and they can go ahead and they have an eighth grade education, but they can make 80, 90, 100, 110,000 dollar. So they're all about money. They're all about
Okay.
money. So that is their manhood. And they think because they can do that, they can go ahead. And so they're masterful at manipulating people, masterful at doing it. Their greatest fear is exposure. This one guy, gentleman, you and I are talking about, he said, Mark, you're ruthless in business. Nobody's ever told me that before. Really, he's the one that's ruthless. Because he'll poison you, he'll undermine you, he'll go ahead and take advantage of you. You'll help him and he'll stab you in the back. He'll go ahead and, I mean, it's unbelievable. And he'll hurt other people. He thinks he's so smart. It's just insane. He thinks he's so smart. It's like I want to say to him, you have an eighth grade education. Nothing against that. I think that's actually better because you get out of school before you go ahead and you hate school. So the Amish, in my experience, they're much more hungry in learning because they got out before they hated it. English, you go as long until you hate it, like me. Like, and so it's not that, but you're what, 35? You worked in the factory how long? And then you diddled and daddled around here and played around here and here. So what that type of a man does is they hear everything positive about themselves and it feeds their ego, and they don't hear anything negative. You can't get through. And a wife protects it because the wife's identity comes from the husband and her children.
Yeah.
So a wife, when you're saying something against the wife's husband, the wife takes it personally and she will protect it. So she will protect her husband.
I guess I wasn't a very good wife
Or you were a great wife.
because you know what, I never protected my husband, but I also, if somebody was talking bad about him, a lot of times I would walk away. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't
And
want to
that's
participate. I didn't want to
and
lie.
that's right. And that's in a way participating
Right.
because people think she's not happy that I'm saying this. And so the wife protects the husband from the truth.
Yeah.
And then she just like a smoking hole in the ground. And he just it's weird. It's like they go ahead and like in here, the song is just beautiful. You fooled the church.
Where can I find this song?
We'll get it out to you. You can go to, oh, well, I can show you. It's doyouhearmyvoicenow.com.
Okay.
Doyouhearmyvoicenow.com. And then you scroll down to where husband song, honey, you're a goofball, or you can go to the table of contents and you can say husband song here. and then click on this, and then you can go ahead and listen to it, and then you can see the lyrics of it. But you fooled the church, the friends, your mom, with words and scriptures in your palm. But hearts don't lie, and mine is bruised, and honey, I am done being used. You were sweet in the early days, but only for the feeling you get. You own that so well, but I've seen through it now, and I won't forget. Even a little boy knows how to care. He shields my heart while you're never there. You wore a He's more of a man at 2 years old than you've ever been in the stories you've told.
Wow.
Right? Like the lyric,
Wow.
this bad boy. I thought I fell in love with you. I need to be honest. You're a goofball. I thought I fell in love with you, or maybe who you could have been. You made me feel complete, but dreams turned into pain again. You wanted love, but not love. You chased the feeling, not the truth. Now I see you're just a boy hiding in a man's shoe.
I hate to say that, but I think that's pretty much true of most every man that I know.
Right?
I mean that's sad
It is absolutely freaking sad.
because there really is very few men in this world today that I actually would have the respect to look up to.
It's
I
absolutely
can't give them that respect.
It's absolutely insane. And the thing that they don't understand is they don't understand, like Jonathan. So Jill knew our son Jonathan. And so in that same place, so there's so I don't know if it's on that one. It should be there, but he wrote a song and
Jonathan and I used to have some great talks.
right deepers. And so Jonathan wrote a song 6 years before he died. And the woman he wrote the song to was a friend of his in Utah. And he wrote it for her. And she was a singer, but she was looking for a specific artist. And and she found it like 2 weeks before he died. Oh, and
Wow.
you guys should go on to this one here because this is the story, Nora. This would be good, really good. So this is the woman. We interviewed the woman. We interviewed the woman, the story behind the music. And she tells a story of her and Jonathan and how he wrote the song for her and where it came from. Fascinating. The backstory is even more interesting. Like, and so when hard times come, they can be the final blow. Someone lets you down, you have to let them go. You stop and you think, why did this happen to me? Throw your hands up and pray the pain goes away. Then those words come to mind that you heard so long ago. When you told someone about the pain, they said, there's something you should know. It's not about you, it's about the lives that you change, the time that you spend, and the difference you make. May feel the pain, but live a life filled with love. If you can change a life forever, then that's more than enough. Oh, that's something to be proud of. I remember when you walked into my life, I was knocked down and broken, about to give up the fight. You shared this story, and it brought in my view. I live by the words your dad, those words he gave to you. It's not about you; it's about the lives. Like it's just like you combine these things. And so she called me up. I was friends with her too. She said, Mark, I found the vocalist, the artist to sing Jonathan's song. And she called him up and told the same thing. And he died before he ever heard the artist sing his song. He never got to hear his song sung.
Wow.
right?
Wow.
Oh, these guys that are imposters, these guys that are imposters, it's like I just they're missing out the most in life. And so my heart goes out to them because they're living a lie. And their wife knows it, but she wants to protect them because if she
If she calls him out, then what?
then she's acknowledging she made a mistake. She's acknowledging she's failing as a wife.
And she's not going to do that either. So
So it's what,
she's going to continue to live that lie, and she'll take the bits of happiness that she has, and she'll focus on them, and she'll take all of the sadness and the pain, and she'll shove it under the rug,
yep,
and she'll make excuses for it.
yep, yep, yep. So like my heart goes out for young women today because you're right, there's not many men out there. So like how do you find them or more likely how do you build them? So you have honest conversations and you just so this gentleman we're talking about, like his wife is hurting him, but she doesn't even know it. And she's torn. She's torn because she sees that he's a goofball. She can see it. He doesn't listen to her. And then he seduces her into things that he wants to do. And then he goes ahead and he seduces her, gets her to either say yes or gets her to not be just no, no, no. The answer is no. You're not going to do it. If she doesn't use hard force on him, then what he does is like, well, she agreed. Like they have no sensitivity. It's like you got to hit them with a 4x4. And this gentleman that you said, he shared to me, he said, I don't like when you hit, I don't like when you use hard force. Do you know why I use hard force on you? Because soft force doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And so, like Jonathan, it was interesting. Homeschooled, had four sisters, no brothers at the time. And, so he had a lot of women in his life. And man, as a man, my mom, like when we were teenage boys, my dad said to my mom, leave them alone, let them be boys, let them be. And she did. And it was one of the hardest things she did. I think some of that was really good. She built very powerful men. I think some of it was bad. Like listening to your husband when your 16-year-old son, like he's hurting, you can give him a hug. You don't need to ask your husband's permission for that. You can give him a hug and say, are you okay, buddy? But my mom, her mom died when she was 12 years old, and she went ahead and, had a stepmom that was just, I mean, literally tried to choke her, kill her, literally.
Wow.
And, and so just a mean, mean lady. And so I understood, my mom, like, I don't know, she and I have a very special connection, very special connection. And so it's like, so Jonathan once, I came home, he was, I think, 9 years old. And I came home and Rosanna looked at me and just shook her head. She said, you got to do something with that boy. You got to do something with that boy. I'm like, okay, okay. So I go into his bedroom and like he's 9. And I'm like, hey, buddy. He's like, sorry, Dad. And I'm like, buddy, you got to honor and respect your mom. Now, what I told my three boys is women can be, oh my gracious, moms can be absolutely. My mom wasn't, but most moms can. They they use emotional leverage on their boys to, they use emotional, you got to do it for me. They use emotional leverage on their boys, and their boys go ahead and learn how to use emotional leverage. And they flip it back on their mom and women and other people. So women they're not the sharpest tool in the tool shed either. So I go in, I say, hey, bud, I need to explain something to you about life, okay? So he's 9. And I said, you need to honor and respect your mom. Now, if your mom's mistreating you, if she's not treating you the way you should be, not physically, but emotionally, any of that, you come talk to me because dad will deal with it. I will deal with that situation. And I've tried to. Um, and I said, you need to honor your mom because God says that's what you need to do. It's just the right thing to do. You need to do that because it's the right thing to do. Do you understand that? And he's like, I do, Dad. I said, okay, good. Now, if that's not enough motivation for you, if that's not enough motivation for you, then you need to do it because you and I are buddies. Like I come home and I wrestle with you and we hang out. I have lots of fun with you. You don't understand this now as a 9-year-old, but you will later. And that is when you make your mom's life hard, you make your dad's life hard, and I don't get to play with you as much. So what I tried to, so, and he's like, like, right? And he apologized to me when he was 27. He said, Dad, I want to apologize to you. And I said, okay. And he said, I was really harsh on how you treated mom. Like I judged you really hard. He says, now that I'm married, I understand. And so I said to him, in the room, I said, so that's, so ideally you do it because it's the right thing to do. If not, do it because we're buddies. He's like, okay, Dad, okay, I get that. And I said, now, if that's not enough motivation, I need to explain something else to you. And I looked him square in the eye, man to man, and I'm like, she's my wife. You will honor and respect her, or I will kill you. Just no smile, just man to man. He's like, got it, Dad. Like, okay, okay, Dad. Like, okay, Dad. Now I said, now, um, which of those 3 motivations do I want you to do I want you to have? And he said, well, number 1. I said, yeah, or number 2. I don't want number 3, but I will go there if I need to. He's like, okay, got it. I walked out of his bedroom, didn't discipline him, just had it heart to heart with him. And I thought pretty proud of myself. I said, dang, that was pretty good as a dad. And then I thought, am I any different? Like with God, like Mark, do it because it's the right thing to do. Do it because of relationship with God. And if that's not enough, do it out of fear. And so with this gentleman you and I are talking about, it's like the only thing that seems to work is hard force. It's only fear. It's exposure for and he knows that I will. And he's got a limited customer base. So he's thinking he's really successful in business. So he's got a limited customer base. And if he was exposed to that community, if he and his family were exposed to that community, that would potentially just destroy everything. And I probably won't do it, but I might. I don't know. Depends on how. I call it HUA. The same gentleman emailed me once and said, you've got your head up your ass. Ooh, I had a lot of respect for him when he said that. I'm like, ooh, now, now it's a whole different ball game. I didn't realize we could use that language or use that. But I said, well, you and I would both agree on one thing. Somebody's got their head up their ass. I'm not sure it's the right person. I think he's learned he shouldn't have said that. Because now there's podcasts, there's a white paper, everything. And he inspired everything. So obviously I have to give him credit for it. And then he said the other day that he thinks that I'm a wedge between he and his wife. And it's like, no, I just expose you for who you are. So now I got to make a new enhancement to the, head up your ass. And now you got to head up your ass and you're putting wedges in there. Man, is it hard to get your head out of your ass. And so it's almost like these men that were raised by women, that were controlled by women, they think other men are going to be manipulated into whatever. And it's like, I'm not a woman. I don't act like you want to go head to head with me, buddy. I'll go head to head with you. Like you want to do this kind of stuff, I'll go head to head with you. So they're not used to real men. They think that they can go ahead and undermine, and they're like little poison, and they talk behind your back and they do all that stuff. It's like, you know what? My wife and my daughters do that, but they're women. So you know what? I give women some room. Men, no, no. You do that kind of stuff, I can do that. I can play that game too. And I got a big rod
Why would you hold women to a different standard?
because they're women, Jill.
I'm sorry, but why should they be held to a different standard? Just why should they be allowed to do that and you don't hold them to the same standard?
Because it's not my role. The Bible says older women are supposed to teach younger women. Older
Right?
men are supposed to teach older men are supposed to teach younger men. Older women are not doing their job. It's one reason there's so many young women around me. Because the older women aren't teaching the younger women. And the reason the older women aren't teaching the younger women is because the older women don't know. They've never been taught either. And it's a shame. There's all kinds of messy stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So this gentleman who shall not be named, at least not on this podcast, there's a whole, everybody sees it. I mean, everybody sees it about you. Like everybody sees it. You train everybody to just say, oh, that's who they are. They don't respect you. You feel that at the deep core. People don't respect you. Your wife don't, your kids don't. Like they don't respect you. Why? Because you're not respectable. It's not on them. Like I don't like once he like I'm tired of not being respected by you. That's your job to be a respectable man, and you're not being a respectable man. You're just not. And if you were a
Re
woman, Jill would go ahead and call you out.
Respect is earned.
It's earned on a continued basis. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
lie and you don't deceive. You don't go ahead and do those kind of things. And you don't go ahead and play games that with people's jobs and lives and careers. You just don't. You go ahead. You know what? You blow up yourself. You blow up your wife. You blow up your kids. You know what? I mean, I guess even if it's a daughter, even if it's grandchildren, you know what? That's on you. But I know, unless you change, unless you have a heart change, you'll blame somebody else. You'll blame your wife. You'll blame your parents. You'll blame the community. You'll blame your father-in-law. You'll blame somebody. It's always somebody else's issue. All your failure in all areas of your life is always somebody else's fail. You can't even take ownership of little tiny things. You can't listen. You can't submit. And then everything that works for you, everything that works for you is because of you. Like that's not how the life works, buddy. Like, for crying out loud, everybody sees it and they
Sounds
don't
very
respect it.
narcissistic.
What's that?
I said that sounds very narcissistic.
Oh, it's insane. And then you use AI to try to flip it. It's a real nice move. That's another thing. Well, they don't, it's like they don't learn. It's just like they don't learn. It's like some of my grandsons, you know, they go ahead and wrestle with their older uncle who kicks their butt and they take it too far. It's just, it's like they don't learn. It's like there's something in their brain that's off. Nor anything you got?
No, it's been interesting.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you. We'll see you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.